I am not going to get too caught up in the simple reasons as to why I don't like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I always find that when people don't like somebody, it's for reasons that are not based in, we'll say, policy, based in rational thinking. My rational thinking about Wasserman Schultz is almost strictly, I mean, listen, she's a detestable person. She is a shitty person. But
all me, Donald James, all me.
But the policies are absolutely atrocious. It's hard to pick her worst domestic policy. It clearly is payday lenders. If you were to make me pick one, her support of payday lenders is probably as bad as anything that she supports, among so many others. When it comes to foreign policy, yes.
War hawk.
When it comes to foreign policy, she is a war hawk that makes Lindsey Graham blush. And yes, her worst is obviously the state of Israel, but a very, very close second is the country of Venezuela, which is once again the center of our attention when it comes to foreign policy in the Western Hemisphere. Now, why is that, Jen?
I don't know. I don't like that you do that to me, like somehow I'm your assistant. Well, why? My trusty assistant here will explain it to you. Why are we insane about Venezuela? Why do we have such a problem with Venezuela? Because their people voted for somebody that we deem to be a socialist, but that does not want to screw over the people there and take their resources and give them to us. So we have a problem with that. We have a problem with any country that doesn't basically, grant us our, its servitude and its, fealty, if you will. And when leaders of other countries don't do that, then we have to take them out.
Yeah, I like living in a world where our federally elected representatives are a little bit more transparent than they used to be. Enter another corrupt and dirty, bought off South Florida federally elected congressional representative, Maria Elvira Salazar.
So this is
reserves of oil in the world. That
listen carefully again.
We're talking about the largest reserves of oil in the world.
You're not supposed to say that out loud. You're usually
But why not? Trump already has. I mean, Trump's already explained it. Like these people like her, they're living their glory because they finally really can say it out loud. Like he's given permission for everyone to say the quiet part out loud now. It's glorious.
That will be doing business with the American oil companies. And that is something that I have made very sure that they understand. American companies in Venezuela for the next 100 years.
Holy shit, this woman does not hold back. Now people are like, oh, how could you say such a thing? Actually, Maria, you are beautiful inside and out, baby. Thank you for at least being completely transparent in our filthy, imperialistic, war criminal behavior that we have rained upon the rest of the world. Now, again, we have wanted to get into Venezuela for decades now.
Decades. This started in what was it, the early 2000s when Chavez was elected. And we did not like that. And we tried to take him out, and we did. And then he actually was able to come back because his people like him. And eventually he died. And his replacement is Maduro. So he's in that same Chavista group, in that same party. And so we don't like that. We don't like that. So we're just going to again, we're all that in a bag of chips. So we get to tell every country in the world what they can and cannot do in their waters, in their airspace, with their natural resources, because what's ours is ours and what's theirs is ours. And she thinks it's hers. And by the way, this is another person, another Cuban person with the chip on their shoulder that they were raised with in a similar way to how I was raised Zionist. These Cubans were raised hating everything that even remotely is associated with the word socialism. So she's irrational.
Yes. And let's not forget, the person that she replaced in Congress was Donna Shalala. I call her Shanana.
Who was only there pretty briefly, though.
Correct.
She wasn't there very long.
She was one of the most You want to talk about a Clinton lackey of the
Totally.
highest order? Holy shit. I mean, dirty. It's all, if it's Miami politics, you will be hard pressed to find more corruption anywhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. And so in Salazar's position, what she is effectively doing is letting the cat out of the bag. She is admitting that, yeah, we're doing what Trump said. We're totally going in for the oil. It's all about the oil. You're not supposed to say that out loud, sir. No, it's the truth. What's wrong with telling the truth?
Right.
As you often say, he's the most honest liar we've ever seen.
But how are they doing it? So my theory, or at least from what I've been listening to on the shows that I listen to, is it's not something where we're going to be able to really launch a ground invasion and go in and take over any land or any oil fields there. That's not realistic. But what they could do, and what they are seemingly gearing up to do, is send in troops to kidnap and take Maduro out hostage. That is what they seem to be gearing up to do. But yeah, it's all going to end horribly. It's going to end horribly. And I really think we're going to have our asses handed to us. I do. I think Russia and China will have proxy involvement. I think it's just going to be, ugly.
There is somebody who knows just how ugly this can get. Would you care to guess who?
Well, if you want to talk about somebody with brains, I would say Medea or Ben Norton, or, somebody with brains. I would say those people would know how ugly it's going, or Colonel Wilkerson. He'll know.
How about the director of national intelligence? Tulsi Gabbard?
No. I mean, well,
now exclusively Congresswoman.
So is this current, or is this the old clip?
Ooh, I was going to say that, take a guess when it's from.
It's the old clip, because I could tell from her hair.
Well, she doesn't have the silver streak. It says 2020, and she's not under the guise of the Trump administration.
But I think we should set that up, especially for people that are listening, right? So this is Tulsi Gabbard, but it's a clip from 2020, and this is what she had to say about thoughts about invading Venezuela.
Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, a combat veteran and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate. What's your reaction to that? You heard Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president there.
What we are hearing is an increased saber-rattling intention, saying the United States needs to send in the U.S. military now to wage yet another wasteful, counterproductive regime change war. And once again, it's being done under the guise of humanitarianism. When we look throughout history, every time the United States goes into another country and topples a dictator or topples a government, the outcome has been disastrous for the people in these countries. That's why we should use our leadership in the world to try to broker a diplomatic solution, working with countries like Russia that have great influence over Venezuela, so that there is a peaceful outcome. Because I can tell you, as a soldier, Martha, I've seen firsthand the high cost of war, and pushing for this civil war, pushing for the use of military force, will only end up with more suffering and death and disaster for the Venezuelan people. What to speak of increasing these tensions that threaten our own national security. Anytime we're in this situation where you have tensions being ratcheted up and this conflict being pushed closer and closer between nuclear armed countries like the United States and countries like Russia and China, this is something that poses an existential threat to the American people.
So, and we spoke about it last week, about that Venezuela is connected to our now, Cold War with China. And that is part of it, because everything that China is doing to further its international position in terms of economics, in terms of the Belt and Road Initiative and all those things, and BRICS, we are looking for every possible way to stop that and supersede that and stay the world hegemon. And Venezuela is something that we see as an opportunity for that, because of their oil. And that it isn't just about that we hate them because they're socialists. That's the excuse they use to rile people up. We don't really care one way or the other what they are. We just want what's theirs.
Tulsi is one of the great disappointments, because she does know better. She is a smart lady. I've met her multiple times, and she knows the score, but she has a career to think about. A very
I don't know.
powerful career.
I think she got a talking to. I think she's
They
got
all get the talking to. All of them.
and I don't know if it's career or fear or blackmail or whatever it is. I mean, everybody is compromised.
Well, I wouldn't say that everybody's compromised, but the people that
Everybody in his circle is compromised.
yeah, I would say so. And what for? It's not just the Epstein files. I think that this is just a collection of a whole bunch of different problems at the base of the system that is coming apart at the seams, and they don't know what else to do other than to censor, to threaten. How else are you going to get people in line?
What is she saying now? What is she saying now?
She's not saying anything.
That's
one of the reasons why, I came across this because, Crystal Ball had posted this earlier today and said, yeah, Tulsi makes a lot of great points. How come she's not making them now?
I think she's been benched. I think she got benched a long time ago. I think that Marco Rubio is he's in charge. He's calling the shots. I think that she has been asked to basically, sit down and be quiet.
Now, I'm going to direct you to one final clip regarding Venezuela. And I bring this up because for all the flaws that Trump clearly had during his first term, the one thing that he clearly did not allow to happen during his first term, he did not allow the neocons to take over his administration. But they clearly have taken over this one. I don't think anyone even if you still somehow like the Donald, would deny that this is a neocon's wet dream, that who could have ever imagined that it would come to this point. The Democratic Party is a neocon and neoliberals' wet dream as well. So it's not like we have anywhere to go within the two-party system.
Matter.
But with that said, when you allow certain people to have platforms, and this is why CNN is just as disgusting as Fox News or MSDNC, all of the corporate media outlets. And these are not ones that are even owned by Larry Ellison yet, but the day is young. So he could decide that he wants to buy CNN tomorrow if they don't start talking in the capacity that he wants to hear them talking in. And so what better person to put on a panel on CNN than Stephen Miller's Zionist psychopath wife, Katie Miller, when it comes to international law regarding what we're doing in Venezuela? I wouldn't have believed it if you told me. And even when I see it, I still don't believe it. But that's the brazenness of end-stage capitalism, neocon foreign policy.
That Bakari said. He said that those orders that were given of the drug boats in Venezuela were illegal. Can you cite those statutes, please?
Yes, because it's actually called the Due Process Clause of the United States of America. Because can you point to one of those boats that actually had drugs on them? Do you know that? Do you know about the Trinidadians who were killed innocently, who were just fishermen? Can you actually kill those fishermen without due process? So the answer to the question is yes. I can cite the Constitution, just as Scott did.
If you go and say that those were members of Al-Qaeda or ISIS coming to our shores with enough drugs or enough ammunition to kill 100,000 Americans, wouldn't you expect our commander-in-chief to take action to stop that?
Okay, but here's the thing, Katie. They were nowhere near our shores. That's the thing. That's the key point. It was nowhere near our shores. So nobody was coming here with anything. How does she sit? Who can he cite the laws? I am sure that there are actual statutes in terms of international law and maritime law where it might even have specific things that you're not allowed to do. But that is so absurd. Yeah, it's called due process. She's something. Oh, she's something.
First of all, why in the hell is this person on TV is what I want to know.
We know why.
What? Because Stephen Miller Goebbels decided to give his wife a position on TV?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
So this gets back to the war on terror. This is the war on terror redux. It's being done all over again. we have to kill the terrorists there or they're going to come and kill us here. Do you think it's appropriate if they come and kill 100,000 Americans? We have to kill them first to prevent them from doing it. You know who they sound like? Could you guess who they sound like, ladies and gentlemen? We have to kill all the Palestinians or they're going to come and kill us.
Yes, these are people that believe in preemptive genocide. That's how entitled they are. This is, you know, and she's just absurd. I don't know what her qualifications are for her to be in any sort of,
she doesn't have any. She has none.
Like, I don't know what she does. But, you know, when you're talking about something like self-defense, Katie, it helps if you're on your property and your land when you claim it. See, if you're on someone else's property and you're claiming self-defense, it doesn't work. See, that's the thing. We're in their waters, their airspace.
We'll continue.
That's what's happening here. That is what's happened, by the way. That's what happens in every war zone, whether you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia. Go there. Let's talk about it.
Give me one name of one individual that you can compare to Al-Qaeda coming through that had enough fentanyl to kill all these Americans. Can you name one?
Let's go to what these drug deals are talking about, which is that we are actively ensuring that the war on drugs that we've been doing for 50 years, which has not
that has been a failure for 50 years.
We can agree on that.
Okay, I've had it. I'm about to blow a gasket. If there is one thing I can say with absolute confidence is that bimbo has probably done a few lines in her life. And
I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know what she's done. She is not a very bright woman at all.
No, she is the type of person who believes that people living in communities that are downtrodden, having a lot of problems, that they all need to be dealt with accordingly. The war on drugs, I am willing to bet a safe amount of cash that woman has definitely done some things in her life that would be classified as not above the law. Or
who hasn't? Who hasn't? Bullshit. Everybody's done something that is against the law. Nobody's seriously. You want to know? In some state, like seriously, oral sex is illegal in some states, Peter. If you really want to look at it, everybody has violated laws because most of the laws are there to control us, not.
Yes, I agree with that. 100%.
So yeah, we've all broken the laws. You didn't drink before you were 21?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You see? Onward.
I just, when I see a privileged bimbo like this person, who's also a genocidal maniac on top of everything else, I mean, you make Bakari Sellers look good, you're really fucking up royally, but it's not like they care. For them, they're riding on top of the world right now. They, and it makes it so much worse because we've basically become a lawless nation.
As we should be. We are. We are a rogue, lawless nation on the globe that goes around in violation of every sort of moral norm, every international law. We violate every agreement, compact, pact, treaty that we make. And yeah, I'd say we're pretty fucking lawless. And in fact, I find it kind of nerve that any of us are expected to follow laws in a country that is in complete violation of the international law. Of all, like it doesn't make sense. I honestly, nobody should pay taxes in April. Nobody should pay their taxes in April. Seriously. Seriously? I mean, I'd be throwing tea in a harbor, but I don't drink tea and I don't live near a harbor. But that's where we're at. We do not have representation. So why in the world should we do anything according to those rules?
I agree. I think we're heading in that direction. That's why libertarianism is becoming infinitely more popular. That's why people are starting to share that sentiment. And when it comes to just not following the law, and I cannot emphasize this enough, we are at a point now where we have to accept that if we do not fight back against our nation, well, it's not even against our nation. It's simply against those that have power and those who choose to wield that power in an imperialistic way. I would imagine that most of the people around the world agree that the United States and its people, for the most part, do not agree with what's going on. However, are we really in a position where we're willing to rebel? Are we at that point where we are going to say, yeah, we've had enough of this? Well, if we don't say that we've had enough, then what we're ultimately faced with here is something like this. Trump gives Venezuelan dictator, of course he's a dictator, Maduro, stern ultimatum: leave now or else.
Can we pause at the caucasity of this situation? Let's think about this. Can you imagine if another country's president put out an ultimatum to our president that he needs to step down or else? Like, can we wrap our heads around how unbelievably entitled that is, and colonistic and disgusting? Like, it's caucasity.
Could we also briefly talk about the fact that Venezuela's currency is attached to the US dollar, and as a result, we can sanction the shit out of them till our heart's content?
Well, we have been. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions about Venezuela that most people have. You know, they think that Venezuela has a failing economy and all these problems, these economic problems, because of socialism. And that's just not true. Now, Venezuela does have problems, and I am not a Maduro supporter by any stretch. It's not my country. I don't vote there. But their biggest problems are caused by our sanctions. We are economic bullies. We're currently sanctioning 60-something countries around the world in a way that makes it where they can't get things that they need, like medicines and certain food products and things that would help their economy that they are unable to procure because the world bully hegemon has decided that anybody who trades with them or gives them products that we deem they're not allowed to have, well, then we're going to sanction you too. So this is why Venezuela has a bulk of its economic problems, is because of us. Not all their problems, but economically a lot.
President Trump gave Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro a strongly worded ultimatum as tensions flared with the South American nation, telling him to resign and leave or else, according to a bombshell report. During a call between Trump and Maduro, the socialist president demanded that he be allowed to maintain control of Venezuela's military if he paved the way for free elections there, said the Miami Herald. Maduro also reportedly sought global amnesty for all of his alleged crimes. Trump's refusal on both counts was said to be swift, as he followed up with an offer that Maduro may not be able to refuse: leave now or else. The pair quickly talked. Damn you with this freaking ad bullshit.
I don't like the New York Post. I think that they're such crap.
Of course they are, but hey, it's the oldest newspaper in the country in terms of major circulation, and I've got to give them their due. At least they're showing what the pro-war, pro-Trump message is. The pair's talks quickly broke down, with a U.S. Pulse Sunday lamenting that the ongoing war between the two sides is already deadlier than Vietnam for his state. We have a war coming through fentanyl, through opioids, through cocaine, U.S. Senator Dave McCormick told Fox News Sunday.
Okay, but none of that is coming from Venezuela. That's the problem. They're making these ridiculous claims, and yet they have no evidence. The evidence is the contrary.
You know, it's funny. You get somebody like McCormick in, and then he makes this big leap from fentanyl killed 100,000 Americans last year. That's twice the number of people that died in 8 years of Vietnam, 4,000 Pennsylvanians. It's like, what in the fuck are you comparing this to? Like, what does anything mean to anybody? This ridiculousness.
If they gave a shit about our health and our well-being, then they would be worried about punishing the Sackler family, not going after Venezuela.
Yeah.
Okay? Venezuela is not a source of our epidemic here in any way. It isn't. Most of it comes in from the other side. And that's just not how it works. But the Sacklers have killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Alex,
in an epidemic.
Alex, are you listening to anything we're saying?
I would be, honestly, I have no problem going to Venezuela. It's one of those places that I would want to go to with someone who knows it there. And I don't think it's good there. I don't think it's good there. But one of the main reasons it's not good there is because of us. That's what I'm saying. Their elections are considered more fair than our elections. So that means that their election where they voted in Maduro is infinitely more fair than our election where we vote in our president. So why do we get to say who should be their leader? Like, I'm not saying Venezuela is great. I'm saying it's not our business, that you don't get to go into foreign nations, go into their airspace, into their water, bomb boats out of their water with no evidence of anything, in any way claim self-defense, and that we're entitled to their natural resources. So we're trying to negotiate to force out their leader. This is absurd. And it has nothing to do with me going to Venezuela. I'm not singing praises of Venezuela.